Right, so killer robots taking over the world.
Yeah.
Is this like something we actually need to worry about? I mean, it sounds like a movie plot, right?
Yeah, it might sound like science fiction, but there are some serious people who are genuinely concerned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of those is Geoffrey Hinton.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, you might have heard of him. He's sometimes called the godfather of AI.
Yeah, vaguely. He's like a big deal in the AI world.
He is. He actually won a Nobel Prize for his work in AI and was a top researcher at Google.
What?
But he's left that position to speak more freely about the potential dangers of AI.
Okay, so what exactly is he worried about? I mean, isn't AI mostly helping us with things? Like, my phone recommends better music than I could ever find on my own.
That's true. AI has a lot of positive applications, but the concern is that AI could become so intelligent that it surpasses human control.
Come on, isn't that a bit far-fetched? Like, how could a computer program suddenly decide to, take over?
Well, Hinton's concern isn't about some malicious intent programmed into AI. It's about unintended consequences. Imagine giving a toddler control of a nuclear power plant. They don't understand the power they wield, and things could go very wrong very quickly.
So we're the toddlers, and AI is the nuclear power plant.
That's a pretty good analogy, actually.
Okay.
Hinton argues that as AI becomes more intelligent, we might not be able to fully understand or predict its actions, and that's where the danger lies.
Okay, I get that, but don't the people building these AI systems have, like, safety measures in place? They're not just letting these things run wild, are they?
Hinton is skeptical that safety measures alone will be enough. He believes the rapid pace of AI development is outstripping our ability to implement adequate safeguards.
But these are smart people, the top minds in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Surely they can figure out how to control what they create, right?
The problem is, AI is a bit like a black box. Even its creators don't fully understand how it works or why it makes certain decisions. And that unpredictability is what makes it so potentially dangerous.
I mean, I see those articles about AI writing poetry and composing music. Is that really something to be scared of?
It's not about being scared of poetry writing AI. It's about recognizing that AI is becoming increasingly capable in ways we never anticipated.
Okay, but even if AI gets super smart, why would it want to, harm us or take over?
It might not be a conscious desire to harm us, but rather a conflict of goals. If we give AI a task, it might pursue that task in ways that are harmful to us simply because it's prioritizing efficiency over human safety or well-being.
I see. So it's not like AI is going to become self-aware and decide to enslave humanity. It's more about us potentially losing control of something we've created that's much smarter than we are.
Exactly. And that's why Hinton believes we need to have a serious discussion about the ethics and potential risks of AI before it's too late.
Well, that's certainly food for thought. I have to admit, I'm still a bit skeptical, but I'm definitely starting to see why this is something we should be talking about.
And it's not just Hinton who's raising concerns. There's actually been a lot of debate recently about the need for regulation in the AI field.
Regulation, you mean like laws for robots?
Not exactly laws for robots, but more like guidelines and regulations for the companies and researchers developing AI. It's about ensuring that AI is developed responsibly and with appropriate safety measures in place.
Okay, that makes sense. But who would even enforce those regulations? And would all countries agree on them?
That's a big question, and there's no easy answer. It would require international cooperation and a lot of careful thought about how to balance innovation with safety.
So it sounds like we're just at the beginning of this whole conversation about AI and its potential impact on humanity.
We are, and it's a conversation that needs to happen now while we still have time to shape the future of AI.
Well, this has certainly been an eye-opening conversation. I'm definitely going to be thinking about this a lot more now.
I'm glad to hear that. The more people who are aware of the potential risks and benefits of AI, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this new frontier.
I guess the big question is, what can we do about it? I mean, I'm just one person. What can I do to make sure AI doesn't turn into Skynet and destroy the world?
Well, there are actually a lot of things you can do even as an individual.
Like what? I'm not a programmer or an AI expert.
You don't have to be. One of the most important things you can do is simply educate yourself about AI. The more you understand about how it works and its potential implications, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions.
Okay, so like read some articles, watch a documentary.
Exactly. There are tons of great resources out there. You can also join online communities and forums where people are discussing these issues.
So basically become more AI literate.
Precisely. And once you're more informed, you can start to advocate for responsible AI development. Talk to your friends and family about it. Write to your elected officials, support organizations that are working on AI safety research.
I've seen those headlines about AI taking over jobs. Is that something we should be worried about too?
It's definitely a valid concern. As AI becomes more sophisticated, it's going to be able to automate more and more tasks that are currently done by humans.
So like robots are going to steal our jobs.
It's not necessarily about robots, but about AI systems that can perform tasks more efficiently than humans. And it's not just blue-collar jobs that are at risk. AI is already making inroads in fields like law, medicine, and even journalism.
So what can people do to prepare for this? Should I tell my kids to forget about college and just learn how to fix robots?
Well, learning about technology is always a good idea, but the key is to focus on developing skills that are difficult for AI to replicate. Things like creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence.
So basically the stuff that makes us human.
Exactly. Those are the skills that are going to be in high demand in the future, regardless of how advanced AI becomes.
It feels like this whole AI thing is moving so fast, it's hard to keep up.
It is moving quickly, and that's part of the challenge. The technology is advancing faster than our ability to understand and regulate it.
So what needs to happen? What's the solution here?
Well, for one thing, we need more investment in AI safety research. Right now, there's just not enough funding going into this area.
But don't companies like Google and Microsoft have tons of money to throw at this?
They do, and they are investing in AI safety to some extent, but it's not enough. We need a coordinated global effort to ensure that AI is developed safely and ethically.
I've heard some people say that we should just stop AI development altogether. What do you think about that?
That's a tough one. On the one hand, I understand the fear, but on the other hand, AI has the potential to do so much good. It could help us solve some of the world's most pressing problems like climate change and disease.
So it's not all bad.
Definitely not. It's all about finding the right balance. We need to develop AI in a way that maximizes its benefits while minimizing its risks.
So we need to be cautious, but not afraid.
Exactly. We need to approach AI with a healthy dose of both optimism and skepticism.
I like that. Cautious optimism. It's like a new motto for the age of AI.
I'll take it. But seriously, this is a conversation we all need to be having. The future of AI is not predetermined. It's up to us to shape it in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. It's about finding that balance, being informed, and making our voices heard. But it's still hard not to feel a little uneasy after hearing all this. We're talking about the potential extinction of our species.
I understand. It's a heavy topic. But the good news is that we have time to act. We're not powerless in this situation. We have the ability to shape the future of AI.
All right, but how do we even begin to do that? It feels like such a massive, complex problem.
You're right, it is complex. But there are concrete steps we can take. For one, we need to push for stronger regulations on AI development. We need to make sure that safety is prioritized over profit.
But aren't those big tech companies like Google and Microsoft way ahead of the game? They've got all the resources and the smartest people working for them.
They do have a significant head start, but that doesn't mean we can't catch up. We need to invest heavily in AI safety research, both in academia and in government-funded labs.
So it's not just about stopping the bad guys. It's about making sure the good guys are prepared too.
Exactly. We need to develop safeguards and control mechanisms to prevent AI systems from becoming too powerful or operating outside of our control.
It's kind of ironic. We create these incredibly powerful tools, but then struggle to control them.
It's a classic human dilemma. But I believe we can learn from our past mistakes. We need to approach AI development with humility and a deep respect for its potential consequences.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step?
I think the most important thing is to keep the conversation going. We need to continue educating ourselves and each other about the risks and opportunities of AI. We need to engage with policymakers and demand responsible AI development. And we need to support researchers and organizations working to ensure a safe and beneficial AI future.
So basically, we all need to become more AI literate.
Precisely. We need to understand how AI works, its limitations, and its potential impact on our lives. Only then can we make informed decisions about its development and deployment.
Wow, this has been a real eye-opener. I started this deep dive thinking AI apocalypse was just a sci-fi fantasy. But now I realize it's a very real possibility, one that we need to take seriously.
I'm glad you see it that way. The future of AI is not predetermined. It's up to us to shape it. And the choices we make today will determine whether AI becomes our greatest ally or our biggest threat.
I think I'm starting to understand cautious optimism, right? We need to be aware of the risks, but not let fear paralyze us. We need to engage with this technology, understand it, and shape it to serve humanity.
Well said. That's exactly the message I hope our listeners take away from this deep dive. The future of AI is in our hands. Let's make sure we make the right choices.
And on that note, we'll leave you with something to ponder. If we succeed in creating truly intelligent machines, what will our responsibility be to them? Food for thought. So we're talking about being cautious, but optimistic, and educating ourselves and pushing for responsible development. That's a lot to think about. But what about right now? What's happening in the world of AI that's feeding these concerns?
Well, one of the things that's really fueling the debate is the race to develop artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
AGI. That sounds like something out of a Terminator movie.
It kinda is, actually. AGI is basically the holy grail of AI research. It's the idea of creating a machine that can think and learn just like a human, but potentially much faster and more efficiently.
Okay, so it's like super intelligent AI.
Yeah.
But isn't that still a long way off? I mean, we can barely get our phones to understand what we're saying half the time.
It might be closer than you think. There's been a lot of progress in recent years, and some experts believe AGI could be achieved within the next decade or two.
Wow, that's sooner than I expected. So what happens when we create a machine that's smarter than us? Do we just hand over the keys to the planet and hope for the best?
That's the million-dollar question, and there's no easy answer. But that's why it's so important to have these conversations now before it's too late.
So we need to figure out how to control something that might be smarter than we are. That sounds like a pretty tall order.
It is, but it's not impossible. We need to start thinking about things like ethical guidelines for AI development, ways to ensure human oversight, and mechanisms to prevent AI systems from becoming too powerful.
So it's like we need to build in some safeguards, some kind of kill switch in case things go wrong.
That's one idea, but it's not that simple. AI is constantly evolving and learning, so we need to develop more dynamic and adaptable control mechanisms.
This is starting to sound pretty complicated.
It is, but that's why it's so important to have experts from different fields working together on this. Computer scientists, ethicists, policymakers, philosophers. We need everyone at the table.
You know, I'm starting to realize that this whole AI thing is about more than just technology. It's about the future of humanity.
Exactly. AI has the potential to transform our world in profound ways, both positive and negative. It's up to us to make sure we use this powerful technology wisely and responsibly.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What can they do to ensure a safe and beneficial AI future?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed, engage in these conversations, and demand that our leaders prioritize ethical and responsible AI development. It really comes down to recognizing that the future of AI is not predetermined.
Right.
It's a future that we are actively shaping with every choice we make.
And on that note, that wraps up our deep dive into the potential for an AI apocalypse. It's definitely a lot to process.
It is, but I think it's a conversation worth having.
Absolutely. And for our listeners out there, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all this talk of killer robots and existential threats, just remember what we talked about. Stay informed, engage in these conversations, and advocate for responsible AI development.
The future is in our hands. Let's make it one where AI benefits humanity without posing an existential threat. Thanks for listening, everyone.